7 version of the smiley face. You can kind of get a smiley. It's kind of a little bit smiley. Like you need imagination to figure that out.
Yeah, for sure.
What you're looking at is actually i8. It is what it looks currently in i8, and it will look exactly like this when we ship i8, because we are not breaking any compatibility, and this is a compatible mode of i8. And most of the web relies on particular behavior, including particular incorrect behavior. So, so the incorrect behavior will still be there unless the new content wants IE to be in standards compliant mode. So let me ask us, and then we will show perfectly standard picture.
So let me ask you this question, because I mean, why isn't it possible for the? I mean, I know this is, there's a lot of heavy magic already going on. But why isn't it possible for the browser, for Trident and MS-HTML and where the logic happens, to understand that, hey, this is not a correct way to do things, and it's probably was written back in the day, so we're going to render it and we're not going to freak out. And then
the challenge there really is that we don't even know for content that's built after we release IE8 what version of IE they're trying to get it to work with. And in particular, web developers are trying to get their content to work across multiple versions. They're going to want it to work in IE6 and IE7 even after we've shipped IE8. Until those browsers aren't really part of the mix of users that come to their website, they have to make it work across all those browsers. They also, of course, are going to want to make it work across other browsers, and that's really where our standards compliance work comes in to enhance that interoperability.
Okay. So let's look at the smiley face and then tell me, what are we looking at? I mean, what's significant?
Okay, so what's here? This is the real test. It is really the live page. Let me open this again. This is the address. I'm going there. I'm going to click here and test and take the test, and the test. This is the bug version. This is not the performance you're going to see in the reality. The test looks like this. If you look at the source code of this, you're going to see lots and lots and lots of CSS here. This is a really good, well-constructed test that tests the presence of many interesting CSS features. There is a reason this is a difficult test to pass unless you have these features. So we couldn't just fix a couple of bugs in IE6 and just now we pass the test. We could, but no, really we couldn't, because it is again, it's not a compliance test. It is a test that tests the presence of features, and there are some really interesting features that it asks for, like generated content and treating and embedding images right into the CSS file as encoded things. It is difficult to just add unless you have the feature. So now we have the features. So we have the features, and we implement the features in the right way. So we pass the test. So in a way, passing the test is not something that we build a project around. We build a project around implementing important features in a standards compliant way, and when we do it, the test to a degree just happens.
Okay. So in other words, this is a side effect of just making IE more compliant.
Alex has a very, very good point that our main focus was really to make our platform more predictable, more reliable. Because, as a lot of people know there, when I did the work previously on Channel 9, where we talked about all the bugs we fixed and all the still issues which were in the engine, we realized that we really need to focus on building something where the web developer community out there can rely on. And also, this IE8 effort gave us the opportunity to really look at and I can just show you,
on Alex's desk.
The 400 pages of this wonderful spec here, and look like how do all these features actually work together, and build an engine which provides a holistic view around these feature sets.
This book looks like brand new. I have another copy of mine that I was actually using for the last couple of years.
Wow,
and it is
that's well used.
It is well read.
See, I mean, that's important. There's a developer with the compliance spec. Right on, man.
I think we made sure every developer had a copy of that.
Yeah, actually, we made jokes because we like whenever we updated the spec on the working group side, we kind of like had to print a new copy because we just love to have notes and stuff, and then we carried all these different notes from the other specs with us around. It got a little crazy in the end, but so we're very happy that the spec is also solidifying now and kind of being to a point where it's really safe and solid to implement. Another challenge what we faced while writing this new layout engine was that this spec is actually quite complex, and it still has a lot of areas in there which there are ambiguities in there, and so we actually worked very well together with Mozilla, Opera, all the other browser vendors to close these holes and provide a spec anyone out there can pick up and implement a version of it. And this is the Asset2 test you just saw. It's just a proof of that this is possible.
Excellent. So what were some of the big engineering challenges to pull this off? Like, what are some of the big problems that you had to, what kept you up late at night, huh?
Well, actually, most of the time it wasn't a test. It was building all the features that gets together. It's hard to write a browser.
That'll work.
It is. There is a reason they don't show up from many sources. There's a number of them. It's actually amazing how many different code bases are there that implement all of these complex features. But it is hard. It is not particularly hard to put a number of characters in a line and find where line break is. It is not particularly hard to position a rectangle on the screen when you're given coordinates of a rectangle. But if you get all of the features in that book and make all of them work together in any combination, that becomes
And add
difficult.
margin collapsing to it.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic feature. We actually before we started working on the new version, we did look in detail in Asset2 and broke that down into a number of particular features to show what does this feature bring to this particular smiley face. Hey, Marcus, it's your document.
Yeah,
do
sure.
you want to go over it?
Yeah, I can just walk you through a little bit. Alex, if you show me where you parked it.
Yeah, it's somewhere here on my dashboard. Here.
Alrighty.
Cool.
So what we did is pretty much we took the Asset2 test, and as you have seen in the view source over here, it's pretty much aligned around each line of the smiley face. There are certain CSS rules which apply to each line of the smiley face. So what we did is we started breaking down each of these lines and just removed these features and just see how it still renders in our old engine, IE7, to really identify all the bugs and all the problems, all the features missing to make this wonderful smiley face come to life. So for example, here's like a bug where we say, hey, we had the p tag not closing correctly according to the HTML4 specifications. Obviously, we had to do this to pass this wonderful test. Data URL not supported is for another one of these examples. As
So
Alex,
what's a data URL? Can you
let me
out of the loop?
before I
Sure.
get to that question, Alex I think pointed out very nicely that this test is not just a collection of bugs. It's also a set of very hard to implement features. So we took the approach to kind of group all the bugs, group all the features, and when we built a new engine to kind of make sure we have a holistic approach in making sure all these pieces work along the way in addition to the bugs. So data URL was one of these features which was a little challenging for us because it hasn't been previously implemented. We didn't have some similar infrastructure in the past, so we first had to figure out how to integrate it into our engines. But now it's here, as you have just seen. So I don't want to go through all the